about Africa, given your extensive experience on that continent and in the context of the threat from China. I served on the House China Task Force this past summer, and we were confronted firsthand with China's soft power efforts through Belt and Road in Africa. The United States obviously needs to leverage all of the tools in our foreign affairs toolbox to counter China. And one area in particular that we were able to hone in on was better utilization of the Development Finance Corporation. I know, Ms. Smith, you commented on the BUILD Act and how DFC has been updated, and now we have debt and equity tools available to us there. But my question to Ambassador Brigady is, are there ways you think that this committee, the Congress, could add to or enhance the BUILD Act to better support the work of the Development Finance Corporation and perhaps the Export-Import Bank as a way to counter Chinese malign investment in Africa?
Well, Congressman, thank you very much for your question. So first of all, let me note for the record that Gail Smith has forgotten more about Africa than I've ever learned. And so she is, as a colleague of longstanding, I'm sure she has many thoughts on it. I would offer one very specific policy proposal, which I think could easily garner bipartisan support. We need to have a structured diplomatic dialogue with the African Union and also with other regional organizations for the purpose of identifying what are the structural impediments to American engagement on the continent in such a way that it actually improves both of our respective outcomes. I'll give you an example. So part of the reason the Chinese are there in such force is, as I said previously, they can direct their companies to go there. They don't have the same human rights standards, and they can finance them at unbelievably low rates. But there are also things that, in doing so, the Africans are at a loss for. They often are given essentially predatory loans in order to do so. They do not, the Chinese are not very good at treating African labor very well. They don't get the same environmental standards as we do. Our companies, for example, just in infrastructure alone, are world class. But because we don't have a structured dialogue and a structured diplomatic engagement to say with our African partners, say, for example, we will help you build a Cairo to Cape Town railway, or you have expressed the desire to have high-speed rail connecting multiple African capitals, we will help you do that. Here's what we need in order to be able to do that in terms of financing right away, whatever. And in return, in addition to getting a railway, you are going to get knowledge transfer. You're going to get better access to basic labor standards that the Chinese don't adhere to. You will be able to call upon our embassies to be able to work out these sorts of labor agreements.
Well, reclaiming my time, and those are great. Those are great feedback for us. I appreciate that. Just because of limitations on time, let me reclaim the time and turn to Dr. Slaughter very quickly on the issue of Taiwan and the CCP's threat that it poses. We saw what happened with the Hong Kong Basic Law and the security law that happened in Hong Kong. Now we are turning our eyes to Taiwan, and the aggression of PRC has shown towards this island, especially, I might add, with the change in the administration and what that means. While Taiwan has a distinct geographical advantage, obviously with the Taiwan Strait, what steps can the new administration, this Congress, take with allies and partners in the region to prevent a repeat of what happened in Hong Kong?
Yes. So thank you, Representative Barr. That is a hugely important question, because that is one of the places where you really could see some kind of regional or even global conflagration if we're not careful. We have to make it absolutely clear that we intend to abide by our obligations under the Taiwan Relations Act with Taiwan. We are not going to be intimidated on arms sales. We're not going to be intimidated in terms of engaging with the government of Taiwan. It's a delicate issue, because we obviously don't want to do anything that enables provocations that might serve people domestically in Taiwan but don't serve us. But overall, as you say, it's very different from Hong Kong. There are things we can do with Hong Kong, but they're much more to do with our allies in the region. with Taiwan, we need to make it very clear that neither we nor our allies will brook any kind of aggression vis-a-vis Taiwan.
Thank you. Gentlemen's
Thank
time
you.
has expired.